Hello and welcome back to the Perth to Paisley Podcast, episode number 207. And honestly, this is probably the most mental game we have ever covered. And I was going to say hopefully, but not hopefully, ever will cover, because let's just have loads of them every single week. Have 3 all draws where we play so disastrously bad in the first half and then somehow fix it in the second. It'll be a laugh. So to cover everything that happened, we'll try. As ever, I am Daniel McIver, joined by Adam Kennedy. Adam, have you caught your breath yet after that?
Yeah, just to know more. I don't know how to feel regarding the weekend result, McIver, because I could come on here, I could scream and shout, berating the first 60 minutes because, let's face it, that's probably the only acceptable reaction for the first hour of that weekend's game. I could credit the team for a remarkable comeback because I certainly did see that at 3 goals down. But ultimately, I think I'm probably somewhere in the middle. It's tricky to gauge whether it's 2 points dropped, as that probably aligns with our pre-season objectives, or it's in fact a point gained given the circumstances. So it should make for an intriguing episode, if nothing else. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I am interested to see how we cover this because I feel like up until Harry Milne's strike, it could be as negative as we have ever been, and it would be justified. But then we've just got a wee guy who's class, who just should be starting every game ever. So there's probably going to be a lot of positivity from that end. So it's going to be weird.
Our own superstar from Portugal. Maybe we should
Yes.
nick that song to annoy a certain fan base.
I am so on board with
Somebody
that.
can come up with the right lyrics for it, then be our guests.
In fairness, he's already got a pretty good song.
He does. But you can never have too many, McIver.
Very
Our
true.
songbook's wearing thin. Like let's get some variety.
Very, very true. Obviously, we normally start with around the grounds. There wasn't actually that many games due to a lot of European action and postponements. But before we do that, there was 2 quite sad moments in Scottish football in the week running up to this weekend that we just wanted to kind of send our condolences to. The first was the former chairman and chief executive of our biggest rivals, Hibernian, Rod Petrie, the man that was there when they won the cup, basically.
Don't remember that happening.
Yeah, it's going to be his legacy. For pretty much all of our lifetimes, he was involved with Hibs. And just, it's impossible to discount how influential a figure he is from Hibs fans. My mate's a Hibby, and I was kind of speaking to him, asking what his legacy was out with the cup. And it was just that he seemed to provide a platform for success to be built upon moving forward.
He's also been involved with the Scotland national team as well.
Yeah.
So we can't look at it from solely a club basis, but obviously this is a Hearts podcast. And despite Hibs being our nearby noisy neighbours, it's only right that we pay our condolences. It's still somebody's father, somebody's granddad. So yeah, a real shame. And he does get quite a mixed reception, Rod Petrie. I don't think there's a definitive kind of all good or all bad. But I think for the most part he was kind of a sensible head that only wanted the best for Hibs. So I don't think their fans can really find too much fault. And of course, as you mentioned, something that happened nearly a decade ago, which was the absolute worst day of my life, your life,
Yeah.
everybody listening's lives. But yeah, it's still nonetheless very sad, given his connection with both Hibernian and the Scotland national team. So rest in peace, Sir Rod Petrie.
And then incredibly sad, and as well, something that is very removed from this podcast. Obviously, Hibs have a form of connection to a Hearts podcast, but just within Scottish football, it was newsworthy through his own Twitter account. Dougie Emery lost his wee girl Remy 20 days after she was born. He'd taken time away from the Morton job to focus with his wife, partner and child. And unfortunately, he did lose his wee girl on the 19th of August. The outpouring of support from Scottish football has been amazing, as you'd expect. Motherwell fans obviously had a banner for her and him at the weekend for our game, and it was lovely to see kind of everybody just unite in applauding it. And just obviously our condolences. There is nothing we can say that can make it even slightly understandable, but we both, I assume the same from you, just send our massive condolences to Dougie Emery and his family.
Totally. Doesn't even bode thinking about that. That is just an absolute sin. It's kind of the polar opposite to Rod Petrie, isn't it? Two completely different ends of life. It's horrible and nonetheless painful. So, as you rightly say, condolences to Dougie and all the Emery clan. Horrible news.
And hopefully, whenever he can get back in the dugout for Morton as well.
Absolutely.
So, moving on to the league action. As I said, there was quite a few postponements because Hibs and Aberdeen are both, as this comes out, the next day, playing in Europe. So they went, we never got this, by the way. We never got this for our playoffs. Postponements.
It's up to the clubs, though, isn't it? Like the clubs have exercised the right. I know. Yeah, it does make you wonder what on earth we were thinking. We're obviously too arrogant, or just I don't know what it comes down to. But
or maybe other clubs said no.
Possibly. Yeah, there's not quite that cooperation. Although Falkirk and Hibs don't see eye to eye, do they?
True.
For some weird reason.
That's very true.
And Dundee United and Aberdeen, again, that was the new firm. Those were the two fixtures that were set to take place this weekend, I think. So, yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, I hope it helps neither, but
that's
just the way of it. The clubs exercised the right, McIver. So we could have, didn't. So I don't know. Not really worth humming and hawing, I guess.
So there was 4 games, 3 on the Saturday. And the only win of the weekend came on Saturday at Parkhead.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. As Celtic eventually, comfortably saw past Livingston with probably save of the season taking place. However, then Shamal George kind of was also like the next day, like, hi, I'm here as well.
Trying to put that, but no, the Prior save's superior.
It's unbelievable. But I think Livingston will be able to take a lot from that. Killie and Dundee. The Dundee trains.
Not too much heading into
No, hopefully not. Yeah, very true. We'll get to that in a wee bit. The Dundee train has kind of left the station and it's picking up a wee bit of steam here as they went to Ayrshire and drew 0-0. I mean, in fairness,
derailed, to be fair, because they obviously took the lead and then had it chopped off. But yeah, bit of a weird one. I fancied Killie to beat Dundee, and I don't think that was ever really on the cards. So he's going to stay in a job, isn't he, Steve?
He is, and I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait. Our game obviously was the main talking point from Scottish football on the Saturday. However, that was quickly pushed away.
A job.
Yeah, exactly. Russell Martin travelled to Paisley in a vague attempt to win a game of football, and they failed because St Mirren drew 1 each with Rangers. St Mirren taking the lead through some terrible defending, and Rangers needing a youngster to come on and kind of sort everything out. Further fallout happened after the game, after Russell Martin said that Igamani refused to come on. We're now seeing in the last 24 hours that it looks like he's away. What did you make? We've kind of covered the Saturday games already because they were quite generic.
That was my interruption.
No. But it's good because what did you think of St Mirren? I actually, for the first time in ages, I watched the full game live. I had nothing better to do on Sunday, and I watched the full game, and I could not believe how bad Rangers were, even with the context of the past few weeks. And I'm infuriated by the fact that they're still going to beat us if Russell Martin's in the job.
Why do you think I'm not adding to this kind of this poke fun nature at them? Yeah, I'm still really worried, but they are crap, so bad. I called 1 each for who scored. By the way, just putting it out there.
Wow.
I think St Mirren had lost something like only one of their last 4 against Rangers last season.
Yeah, I saw that. It's unbelievable.
Won twice, and I think drew the last 2 each in Paisley. So was not surprised to see it end a draw. I think St Mirren will actually probably view that as 2 points dropped.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, go back to Russell Martin and the kind of Igamani Curtis thing. Finlay Curtis was lucky to even come on because initially he was going to put Hamza Igamani on,
Yeah.
and then now it's come out that he's off to Lille and the whole injury thing. I get it from the player's point of view, because ultimately Hamza Gamani was playing amateur football over in Morocco, and Rangers just plucked him from the depths of despair, gave him a chance at a decent level, a much better level that he was playing at. But I think the player's got to be selfish for his own career as well, sadly. So I don't know. I mean, I've been listening to Clyde Super Scoreboard, Go Radio. The pain and just the content has been so much fun. Like I just love listening to how angry they all get. It really does make for fantastic listening. But yeah, Rangers are poor. Was Tony Bloom right? Is this the season?
Oh, don't want to say that. You're going. I'm not jumping in on the poking the fun thing, and then you're like, we're going to split them.
No, I'm making the conversation because there's a chance. I think we can.
You're telling me there's a chance.
Whether we will or not is a different matter. But this would be the season to do it. I mean, who am I kidding? We will 100% be his first win because the Old Firm is on Sunday. Yep. We will be his first league win. It's nailed on, an absolute certainty. But they do look really poor. That's maybe why we've got to go to Livingston and win at the weekend.
Yeah,
just to ensure that we're still ahead of them come 90 minutes at Ibrox. But really poor, really poor.
But
pleasing seeing John Suter get bodied as well. Could I just say
that was by the way, he's. I don't know why this is my main takeaway that he's losing his hair, but he is. That's what I took from it.
His coffee shop is shit.
Exactly.
And ultimately, he's part of. Well, now he's the Rangers skipper, so he'll be fronting all that criticism.
True.
So
get that up, you John.
Grass isn't always greener, is it, John boy?
Exactly. Take that. Well. Right, how are we even?
Do we have to talk about this?
How are we going to cover this, man? I don't even know. We'll start, as we always do, with a lineup because let's just immediately get in with the negativity straight away. Hearts played what feels like I feel like we've barely been at Tynecastle this season. We're about to now have another 2 away games.
I was about to say, we don't play at home for like another month, and I think I'm going to miss it because I'll be in Canada.
Brilliant. So, incredible.
Fantastic. I mean, that's ideal. Falkirk at home in the derby I'll miss because I'm across the pond. Like,
shocking.
Thanks, SPFL. You've done me a right turn there with the fixtures. Dicks.
Well, Motherwell came to Tynecastle on the back of 2 impressive performances domestically, and then I was going to say a good result in the cup. I don't know how they played against St Johnstone, but they won.
Who cares?
So exactly, that's all that matters. However, a lot of confidence going into our game, but a point to prove as well, considering we got knocked out by St Mirren in the last game we played. And Derek McInnes, right. The BBC has this as a 4-4-2. It was not a 4-4-2. I don't know what system it was. It felt like at points a 2-3-2-1-2. It was insane. But I'll read it as the BBC has it.
Sorry, I don't think you were the only one that was confused by the system. I think there were 10 outfield players that were equally as confused, given the first hour or so.
According to the BBC, Xander Clark was in goals. A back 4 of Harry Milne.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, that's fine. We know that's the case. Harry Milne, left back. 2 centre halves of Stuart Findlay and Craig Halkett. Right back of Michael Steinvender. Then
go along with that.
A front 4. Well, midfield 4 of Alan Forrest on the left, Pierre Landry Cabore on the right, Oisin McEntee and Cammy Devlin as a 2, Shankland and Wilson up top. Now, did we? I don't think we actually spoke to each other before this game. Or if we did, I can't remember our reaction to this. No, I don't think we did. But I'll be honest with you. I was like, why is Braga, after his second... I know he missed a penalty, but fucking anybody can miss a penalty. Look at Bruno Fernandes at the weekend, right? It can happen.
I think you've just answered your own question there. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Bruno.
Yeah. Right. Well, why? Why would
Well,
he?
I did actually consider putting him in my fantasy team, but didn't bother.
Right, okay.
I lumped Man United because I thought they were a good price, and then they drew one each. So
Yeah, they did.
them's the breaks, as they say.
Claudio Braga was the best player from a Hearts persuasion against St Mirren, from an attacking point of view, especially. So
Claudio
inexplicably
Braga's
dropped.
been the best player of a Hearts persuasion from the start of 2025-26.
Yeah, fair. It's him and Stuart Finlay hodding up everybody, basically.
Possibly Harry Milne.
Yeah. What? I don't really want to do this like we normally do, where we're just like, oh yeah, here's what happened.
All over the gaff here. What's the script?
I've suddenly just been filled with a rage that I remembered the first hour. I'd got over it because of Braga, but now that we have to go back, I'm like, this was terrible because.
Should we just preview Livingston and end the episode here?
Yes. Claudio Braga scored 2. He's class. We'll beat Livy. Goodbye. What did you make of the team? Because the main reaction that I saw was people thinking it was a 3 at the back with Forrest at right wing back, or like a 3-4-3 with Kabore and Wilson with Shankland. Yeah. But then it turned out to not be either of those things.
Well, I initially thought it was a back 4, so I was actually pleasantly surprised.
Yep.
It's only then when I look at personnel and think, is that really the best that we've got?
Yeah.
I mean, Pierre Kabore, to me, doesn't look a winger at all.
No, he's clearly a striker.
But being given the number 11, which suggests to me, maybe I'm reading too much into this with the squad numbers, but I tend to do so, that we see him as a wide player. Of that, he is certainly not.
No.
Don't fall into this Claudio Braga trap with the Premier Sports Cup by just sticking him on the wing and hoping that something will happen. Through the middle, please. Alan Forrest continues to start games and just get dog loads of abuse, but I think he has something to offer. I do. I really do. I think people are conflicted with him and basically dismissing this squad player agenda. I'm going to keep pushing it because I think we've seen far worse.
I support it.
McInnes and Devlin in the middle, I'm more than happy with. That's fine. Granted, I would like to see a little bit more creativity. Do I think we have that player within our bloated squad at present? No, not particularly.
Callum Ewan-Hoff.
And then James Wilson's kind of brought back from the cold and is expected to start up front alongside Lauren Shankland, which is a strike duo that doesn't appear to work together. My concern isn't necessarily the team that started the game, but when we get into the start of the second half, it's very intriguing to see the 10 outfield players that were there. But in answer to your question, heading into the match, I saw a back 4, was pleased, was a bit confused by our attacking options, and I think they were equally as confused once the game started as to who was playing where, what was doing what. Yeah, just a really bizarre situation and a bizarre selection, particularly when you've come out and said after the League Cup exit, I got the team wrong. Surely you then just go back to basics and go square pegs in square holes, round pegs in round holes, and go with that. I'm not Adam Forrester's biggest fan by any manner or means, but he is perhaps the only recognised right back at the club. He's been brought back from his loan agreement with St Johnstone to just...
And hasn't even been included in a squad.
Not even in a matchday squad. Why does nobody ask the manager or club hierarchy, what is the thinking there? Are we looking to sell Forrester permanently? What is actually happening there? Our wide options are pish, really, on the grand scheme of things. We've brought in that many players over the summer. Alan Forrest was a stopgap that starts. I'd said that last season. We're now into another season where he is starting. And yes, I think he can make an impact off the bench, but from the start, the jury's out. Kabore isn't a winger.
I would disagree that our wide options are pish. My complaint is they're good, they're just not starting. Because I'd rather Kizaridis and Kajota start games.
I was going to say, Kizaridis is the only one that I've got full faith in, and he can't even start. We haven't. We've seen a glimpse of Kirjota. I can see why the club have been drumming up the Islam Chesnikov deal because when he gets here, he surely starts.
Yeah.
But in terms of others, like I don't know, it's an odd situation, and I want to revisit this at a particular stage because it got to a point where I looked at the park and I was thinking, what's actually happening here?
Well, I'll be honest, I was thinking that pretty much immediately because, and this is where immediately boring FM analysis tactical Daniel
Oh, here
comes
we
out.
go. This is there's people just skipped on about 5 minutes.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that's fine.
later.
Get to the bit where we concede and then you can hear us rant. Immediately, I noticed, because listen, he got a lot of abuse at the weekend, and I understand it partly, but I think most of his issues was tactical, which I think is the case for everybody on Saturday. Michael Steinvender got a lot of abuse, right? Within the first 10 minutes, whenever we lost possession, or the ball was in a transition, or they had settled possession, Steinvender was clearly being told to invert, right? We're playing a 4, but he was being told to tuck in. Whether or not the decision was just to have Steinvender tuck in, or Milne was ignoring instruction, but the amount of times where it was just Steinvender tucking in behind Devlin and McInnes and not Milne, so as a result, leaving us completely disjointed and just a giant gap where a right back should be. And it allowed Motherwell to just get in behind constantly from
With
the
such ease.
first whistle. Yeah, like both in a playing a ball over the top way, but also just playing through the lines with passes way, which was their more common thread. And people around me were getting really annoyed at Steinvender being like, where is he? Why is he not there? And after it happened a few times, I was like, right, this is one of two options. One, Steinvender's just not listening and is going wherever he wants. But that's clearly not going to happen because that only can happen once or twice in a game of football. Your manager screams at you. If you do it again, you get brought off. Like, there's no way that you can just ignore strict tactics of a game. So
And
it
that's the
led
same
me...
for Harry Milne on the other side, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So it led me to realise, no, this is clearly the tactic. And it goes back to what McInnes said about St Mirren, where he was like, I wanted to win the midfield battle. But he sets us up in ways that means we're outnumbered in the middle of the park. I so quickly went, this isn't going to work. Because there was a couple of times when Milne and Steinvender inverted, but the times they did it, Motherwell just pushed out to Maswanise and whoever they had on the other side, and it suddenly was just Craig Halkett and Stuart Finlay versus a front 4 of Motherwell. Just baffling in all senses, and this is before we'd even conceded. It was just terrible.
It would be very easy for us to come on here and slight hearts, but Motherwell were magnificent.
It's the best Motherwell side I have ever seen for that first hour.
They got it spot on, and considering that was Jens Bertolascu's first visit to Tynecastle as an opposing manager,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen anything like that from a non-Old Firm team
Yep.
at Tynecastle in the 20 plus years that I've been going, and
Yeah.
I'd be intrigued to hear from older fans if they felt the same because they were absolutely popping it, like properly popping it. It was like watching Guardiola's Barcelona.
Yeah.
Because of the space that ultimately we were giving them, but just the way that they were exploiting it, the passing, the moving, the tempo. I've gone full John Collins, but they were honestly unbelievable. I could not believe my eyes. He's like, they're definitely a team that we've underestimated at the start of the season. But I mean, they get a centre forward in the kind of previous games. It was obviously they take their chances against us because who doesn't? But in terms of other matches, then I think they'd be a right good.
They've
side.
got Reagan Charles Cook to add to that, in fairness.
Callum Hendry as well as signed, so I would be intrigued. Because again, I thought Elijah Just was kind of playing on the right, but he, Slattery and Maswanise were kind of interchanging.
Just was the best player on the
by
park
a
by
million
an
miles.
absolute mile.
He was just causing carnage at every available opportunity.
Yeah.
Just picking up wee pockets, nice little balls into his teammates, getting his head up, looking forward. Really, really refreshing and looks a real talent, a real find.
The only highlight of, I was going to say of note, it's not really of note. Kabore flashes a shot wide of the far side, and it's not anything.
I tell you what, if that is a glimmer as to what's to come, Jesus.
Well, my point was going to be, I'm going to quickly.
With Jamestown.
I'm going to quickly jump forward a second to skip past the opening goal to the 43rd minute, where Kabore actually forces a good save from Ward right at the end of the half. That was the only things he did because he then gets brought off at half time. But in that moment, the 43rd minute one, where it was like he was through the middle, it's exactly what you were saying. I was like, you clearly have no idea what you're doing as a wide player, but you look actually comfortable as a centre forward through the middle, yeah.
But now I'm left wondering what's happening, because if you go through our attacking options kind of as they stand, you've got Shankland, Braga, Wilson, Cabangu, Kabore, Vargas, Musa. Like, some of these have to go.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say that, and I say this like there's destinations for players. Of course, I recognise that teams are going to have to display an interest for our players to move on. But the squad is getting thicker and thicker, and that concerns me that we're not cutting ties with a few of these options if they're just not going to play any part whatsoever.
Yeah. To go back, in the 21st minute, Motherwell did open the scoring, as they very much deserve to do. A well corner is well worked. But just obviously worked to the edge of the box.
It's a shit goal to concede, and one that's not reflective of their performance, because they were excellent.
That's true. Callum Slattery is on the edge of the box. His shot is actually, when you watch it back, deflected twice, because it goes off Shankland's boot onto Steinvender's stomach.
Torso, yeah.
And as a result, it wrong foots Zander Clark to make it 1-0. But as we say, that's it for the first half, by the way. Literally it. That is all that fucking happens.
Absolutely nothing. Can I say, you talk about Zander Clark there, and I see Zander Clark's been getting a lot of criticism. I've got no qualms with the goal, because I think he's ultimately helpless.
Yeah.
But he's kicking.
His distribution was like laughably shit.
Like, everybody's labelled that to be Craig Gordon's biggest fault, which it probably is. But the amount of times Zander Clark would just needlessly punt it long to James Wilson of all people. To James
Wilson, it was inexplicable.
It was unbelievable. And I'm thinking, is there no variety here at all? Are you going to be fair, he did try and shell one out to the flank, but then it just fucking cleared the weak field stand. It's like, is this really what we're dealing with here? The amount of times that he was looking for Wilson, and I'm thinking, this can't be instruction. Surely we have to be switching it up and aiming for Shankland's noggin and maybe flick on, or just, again, you're just watching the same thing over and over and over again, and I was growing really tired of it. I actually felt sorry for Wilson, because like,
what's he meant to do with that?
Exactly. He can't be asking for that, because he's losing every single battle. This can't be down to him.
Yeah. I did think that game was the real nail in the coffin of James Wilson will get game time this season at us, because he's not ready. Yeah, he's not ready. What I mean by that is he shouldn't. McInnes might play him, but he needs to go on loan. He has to go on loan.
But from what I hear, he's on bloody good money to keep him. So
yeah,
again, you're talking about I was talking about interested parties, like, who's going to come in and cover that? I heard of St Johnstone.
Yeah.
Possibly there's interest there. I think Dunfermline are reigning tenors, so I think that'd be a great move from him up alongside somebody like a Chris Kane. I think's decent foil for James Wilson at championship level. But again, Falkirk, maybe, could we give that top tier experience and help John McGlynn out? I don't know, but I would like to see Wilson go out on loan, definitely.
Right, and by the way,
because he's too good to be rotting.
Yeah,
on the bench or in the stands. But equally, I've listed all the centre forward options there. we have to start using some of these to get them in the shop window ultimately as well. It is my thinking. And I think Wilson being the first name on that team sheet every single week for another club, it can't be detrimental to him at all, surely.
And that was my point. I'm not saying that as like a list. Like, for example, with Musa, you would list those things and they would be flaws. Whilst they're flaws of Wilson, it's purely because of his age. It's like 100%. I'm not expecting him to be like a Shankland or a Braga or anything like that. It's like, you're a teenager. Go and get bigger. Go and get faster as you naturally will, and then you'll come into us.
Don't get me wrong. I think currently the best player in world football is a teenager, but that's a very rare case.
There's a slight difference between us and La Masia.
100%. But you're right. In terms of like development, I just think it has to happen. I don't know. Like, what would you deem James Wilson's level realistically?
Right now.
You talk about Football Manager. Would he be a leading championship striker? Would he be a good Premiership player? Where would you kind of grade him?
I would put him top end of the championship now.
Leading championship player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we went to St Johnstone, I think it would be great. A team expected to win the league and look to be playing really nice football as well.
Really nice football. Centre forwards leaving. Mackenzie Kirk.
Yeah.
Supposedly off down south. Uche Piazza as well away. Can't believe
exactly.
He's still there. So there could be a starting spot opening up for him. And obviously we've got that agreement with St Johnstone in place.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we've pissed about with Adam Forrester, so they might not be too keen. But I think that'd be the ideal destination for him, to be honest.
Definitely. You mentioned it at halftime, changes were made.
Thank God.
Benny and Braga came on for Kabore and...
Hallelujah.
Who else came off?
Two of my kind of nailed-on starters. Was it Steinbender? No,
Steinbender.
Steinbender came off for Kent. It was Kabore and Wilson.
Oh, yeah, of course it was.
Yeah.
It was like for like in both instances, kind of. Benny came on, and even in the first 25 minutes, we didn't move to a 3. McInnes just kind of got pushed out right mid with Forrest.
Really
like
strange.
It was weird. I don't know what was going on. We didn't really change to a midfield 3. But again, I'm jumping forward a wee bit. From the kind of 60th minute onwards, we did. And you saw Benny's worth in terms of just protecting the ball and passing it off to someone who can do more with it.
Our best midfielder by a distance. This is the point that I wanted to raise. It was actually a point made by my mate Tanner at the game. When the second half kicked off, you had Clark in goal, Harry Milne, Stuart Findlay, Craig Halkett, Michael Steinbender. As you say, Forrest, Devlin, McInnes, Benny Beningame, Shankland and Braga. 8 of that 11 were at the club last season.
Yeah.
So we've brought in a flurry of players and only 3 are deemed good enough to come on and rescue the game against Motherwell, in essence, or start in a match against Motherwell in a brand new campaign. Now, we've had probably the worst season for 5 years last year. And yet, a large chunk of that team, a good, 70% of kind of the starting 11 is made up by players that were here last year in one of the worst campaigns that we can recall. That does concern me a little bit.
It concerns me, but not for probably the reason it concerns you. Because it seems like you're saying it concerns you from a perspective of that they're not good enough to get into the team. Whereas I would say it concerns me that McInnes isn't picking them when he clearly should be picking them.
No, that's what I'm
okay, good. Because it's like Kizaridis is clearly good enough to start. I would say right now, Kajota should be starting. I get it if it's fitness, but
we've only seen a sample size to reach that conclusion.
But you need the only way you get match fit is by playing games.
Undoubtedly, but we've only seen it a flash. Like there's been no glimmer of anything. Elton Kabangu came in to save our season last year, and I know again he gets a mixed rep amongst fans, but now probably doesn't even get a look in. He didn't come off the bench here, so it's a strange predicament that we're in, with regards to personnel, selections. Like, if we were to run through it, what would be your strongest 11 from a Hearts perspective as of right now? Because I don't think Derek McInnes knows. I don't know. Do you know? Like,
You're going to get really
know.
annoyed at my first name.
Craig Gordon, obviously.
Yes, Craig Gordon is currently the first choice goalkeeper because Xander Clark has been catastrophically shit at the start of the season. The only reason he's playing is because we have a child as backup to him, who, by the way, I'd absolutely be starting this weekend.
I think he was the season before last under Naismith, got off to starting start, if I remember rightly, and then was second in the league for clean sheets. But carry on.
And then last season was so bad, he got bombed at. He had that Dundee game, then
got injured, and then couldn't take his place back. But
yeah, and I think his injuries have really affected him more than possibly. I think a lot of people thought. So Gordon in goals, Borgervink at right back, Finlay, Halkett as a two.
Needs a backup, sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Finlay, Halkett as two centre halves, Harry Milne, Kizaridis, Kurjota, McInnes, Devlin, Braga. Shanklin the now, but he's no who I didn't want to start on Saturday. Benny, Devlin had the single worst game he ever had on Saturday.
Yeah, it was bad.
I think it is the single worst performance he's ever had. Behind Mill and Finlay, Devlin has almost been man of the match in every single game we have had this season. He has been exceptional. So yeah, right now, if we're playing a 4-4-2, then...
So how many new signings have you got there? You've got Kizaridis, you've got Braga, you've got Kurjota, you've got McInnes, and
Borgervink.
Borchgrevink. So a good six. So that would make sense in terms of the summer that we've had to bring in these players to ultimately strengthen a squad that finished fucking 7th last season.
The majority are new guys coming in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, to me, I just think we're all over the gaff. Like, I don't know. Personally, for me, I'm very surprised you went for a back four, but I'm delighted that you did so. I'd go Clark.
I could see a three.
Clark, Milne, Finlay, other centre halves.
How can you not say Halkett after this season so far?
Because again, like, this might just be a temporary thing.
Yeah, but I've said Borgervink and he's out until fucking whatever.
That's because we've got nobody else at right back though.
Yeah, but you said if you could pick anybody. It's like, well then theoretically Halkett is just fit. So Halkett has to be in.
I actually like Steinvender though.
So do I. I like Steinvender as well. Yes, I would have him ahead of Ken.
I'll go Mikey Steinvender alongside Finlay, and I'll have Borchgrevink at right back. This Halkett agenda.
He's dropped Halkett.
Midfield 4.
No, everybody's turned off. Nobody's listening anymore.
Kizaridis has to start for me.
Yes.
I'd almost be tempted to go a 4-3-3, you know.
That's fine. I was thinking of that as well, because then you can play Benny,
Devlin,
Devlin.
I hate myself for doing it, but put Braga on one of the flanks, Kizaridis and Shanklin, but again, very questionable.
That's mental. That's not the 4-3-3 I want.
You're going to say Kizaridis, Braga,
Kurjota. Yeah.
I mean, Lawrence Shanklin as well at the weekend.
Right, wait now. We're getting ahead of ourselves because we're only at 1-0 here.
But I had to ask because this has been
an important point,
and a pattern is developing here.
Yes, good way of saying it.
Week by week, we've not got a settled 11, and that causes its own problems.
7 subs at half time in the last 3 games. That says everything.
Jesus.
That says a manager is going, I've got this wrong, 3 games on the bounce. Because he made 2 on Saturday, 2 at Tannadice, and 3 against St Mirren.
2, 3, 2. Yeah. Bloody hell. I hadn't even thought of it like that.
Yep. Not a good sign. And what was also not a good sign was right at the start of the second half, as I've just described it as poor positioning because I've no idea what the system was. By Hearts.
You think that's poor positioning? Wait till you see the third goal.
Aye, true. As Just is allowed the freedom of Edinburgh from Cammy Devlin to drive forward. He finds Maswinise.
Inside out.
Yeah, he finds Maswinise, who drives past Clark into the far corner. It is a good finish. It's 2-0. it's so terribly bad. Fuck it, because 10 minutes later, it's 3-0 from a very similar situation as one ball through the middle of the park.
Stephen O'Donnell with the outside of his foot like he's Ricardo Quaresma.
I watched this back. Harry Milne is playing as a left winger. And in that moment, Finley's pushed out to left back. Halkett and Steinvender are the two centre halves, and Forrest is the right back. And as a result,
baffled.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this is why you should always watch on YouTube. The defensive line's like a fucking like graph. Like, there's no way you can. But Finlay has the gall to ask for offside, but he's playing everybody on, and it allows Just to just run through.
Nice.
And he could finish it himself, but he's clearly a Xavi Iniesta type. He doesn't want the goals for himself.
That's the right thing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he passes it off to Longello, who taps it. He takes a wee second. He takes a touch.
How much time has he got?
Yeah, he takes a touch.
First time it. He literally takes a touch to ensure that he cannot possibly miss.
And it's 3-0 Hart. Motherwell. I wish it was 3-0 Hart. 3-0 Motherwell. This hour, paired with the caveat that it was the best I've ever seen Motherwell, this hour was the worst hour of football we have had since the 1920 season. There is nothing. There's nothing that comes close to it, and I know that in that time period, Brora happened. But the hour of Brora, we would just kind of like we just had a lot of the ball and won the day and anything. Brora didn't like cut through us, kind of thing. Obviously, the Brora game was much worse. Before anybody tries to suggest, I'm saying it's even slightly similar.
You mean in terms of a performance and us?
You're
being
at home to Motherwell, and it was like we were playing Pep's Barca.
Yeah, they were cutting us open with these. It was like 70s Brazil had just come to Gorgie for a kickabout. I mean, I honestly, I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Yeah, just insane.
And cards are on the table right now before we get
into good. Get this on record.
I was en route to leaving. It was only because I had to nip off to the toilet and Harry Milne scored that kept me in that ground at the weekend, because it was that bad.
Fake fan.
Shut up. my dad would have been genuinely disgusted, but it was that bad. I've never felt like that was. I was gone as far as I was. Like, that was it. There was absolutely nothing that I could see that was going to get us back into that game. However, Claudio Braga decided to just turn into his idol.
Claudio Braga, kinda in a way of just going, "Hi Del, never drop me again. Don't you dare. Don't you dare." Because
is that our title? Can I just say hi Del?
Hi Del. 4 minutes after Hearts go 3-0 down.
Yeah.
I will say, I've just said it was his worst performance in a Hearts shirt. Cammy Devlin does very well to win the ball at the edge of the Motherwell box.
That was a positive, to be fair.
He finds Braga, who dances.
Because he sticks a leg out. And
but it's very Cammy Devlin. Like, it's important that he's there and wins it.
Listen, I'm not complaining. It ultimately led to what it led to.
Yeah.
But it was somewhat fortunate.
We are the Cammy Devlin fan club. We have to give him some positivity.
Yeah, after slewing him for 45 minutes.
Braga in a way that you're speaking about, like, our wide players aren't good enough, and we don't have a clear style, and we don't have someone at the top of the pitch who'll just do stuff. Claudio Braga does stuff himself. Braga just gets the ball and goes, "I'm going to," he's like, "I'm going to fix this."
He's one of them that's kind of what I've been hoping for a while, and that he just takes the game by the scruff of the neck. That's absolutely the cliche, isn't it? He is probably the epitome of that in this Hearts team.
He dances past a couple of defenders. It eventually ricochets to Harry Milne on the edge of the box, who has a fantastic finish for his first Hearts goal. I'm really sorry for him that it was in these circumstances, because at this point you think it's a consolation, but it is his first goal. I checked.
Is it?
Yeah. Because Laurie said it on commentary, and I went, "There's no way, I've surely won money." And then I realised, oh no, I've always had Stuart Finlay first goal scorer.
I was going to say, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, he's had 4 assists, but he's not had a goal.
Christ, what a shit circumstance.
I know, exactly. I really feel for him, but it was very, very important. It's a very, very good goal. Really good finish. And then 7 minutes later, finally in the league, Blair Spittle, who came on, plays Claudio Braga in behind. His curve and run ends one-on-one with Ward, and it's actually, again, a really good finish. Ward should probably do better. It's straight through his legs. He hits the Sue, but it's flagged offside.
I mean,
However,
it's lovely from Braga.
When we were there, and obviously the pass is made directly in line with me because I'm in section R, so his run was in line with me, and I thought at the time he might be on here. There's a genuine chance he might be on.
I'd gone back up to my seat in row 34 and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you're at a bad angle. You're behind it.
Oh, shit. And with how long it was taking, I thought, this is going to get chopped back, isn't it? There was two things for me. We mentioned Harry Milne's goal, but obviously one of my concerns last week was we hadn't scored from open play yet. So it was nice to see that, albeit given the circumstances were shocking. And secondly, I'm not Blair Spittle's biggest advocate, I think it's fair to say. However, I will say this for him. Despite the fact that I think that more often than not, it looks as though he's running through treacle, he will at least play a forward pass. So he sees that Braga's on his bike and just thinks, to hell with this. Sometimes you've just got to lump it long and just let his pace do the talking up against Paul McGinn. Delighted to see him come off second best, and it's a phenomenal finish.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the officials, I was going to say reached the right conclusion. It's very tight.
It is, but this is a positive of VAR because it was flagged as offside.
Can I just say the linesmen were shit?
Yeah, the linesmen were terrible.
And brother beaten. Oh dear.
Well, this is the thing. We've no mentioned beaten. I saw scars around the funnel were like, it's a testament to how bad the Hearts performance is that nobody's really mentioning Beaton. I couldn't believe how bad he was, and I think John Beaton's shit.
I think he is, but ultimately he'd have to do even worse than Nick Walsh in our season opener for me. I think I think we'll keep a tally of this, but so far it's Walsh 1,
Walsh
2.
Really bad. Really bad. However, at that moment, when Braga's goal's given, you just feel the whole stadium be like, right, let's fucking go. Because there's still
was rocking, to be fair.
It was bouncing the last 20 minutes.
It really was. It felt as though we could actually do this here. Like that, it's on. It's well and truly game on. Considering how bleak it was looking for an hour, I do give the squad some credit to get back into it. But from there on in, and again, up until our goal, it felt as though we were going to do it and possibly even go one better.
Yeah. 83rd minute, Devlin again finds Shankland, who finds Benny on the edge of the box.
What Shankland's doing up on
no idea. He's at right wing.
Not going to complain though. And Benny, the people that suggested Benny Beringamy to shoot have clearly not been watching him.
I couldn't believe that.
5 years.
I could not believe that.
Of all the people for the ball to break to and you scream shoot, Benny Beringamy would be last on my list.
Yeah, and I include McInnes in that list as well.
And Alan Archibald.
Yeah. He plays it to Harry Milne, who's in basically the exact same position he was for his goal.
I think, fuck it, I'll have a pop.
I'm just going to do it again. He has a pop, and Ward this time, he did not have a good 15 minutes.
No.
Ward spills it.
Well and truly went. He was 50p, 5p, I think.
Yes,
exactly. We got back that first.
Spilled by Ward, and thankfully, Claudio Braga is running in for the rebound, as any good number 9 should do, even though he's a number 10. Gets the equaliser. The way I celebrated that goal was like we'd won a cup. The place was going mental. I was saying to you beforehand, it was a shame that it was the first time we properly played Radio Gaga because nobody could hear it because everyone was just way too excited. It was the least done Sue of all time because folk were just going mental.
The most muffled Sue I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And again, I think because of the circumstances in which we'd got back into the game and the remaining time, everybody's going, right, come on, let's go get a winner. Let's go
for it.
Let's just pedal to the metal. Here we go. Back from the dead. 4-3, but unfortunately
it nearly happened because in the 89th minute, Kizaridis and Braga link up really well, but Braga's dinked shot is saved well by Callum Ward.
Lovely ball, and do you think he does the right thing?
Yeah, because if he drills at him, it's just hitting his chest.
Yeah, I think so. And he's aware that obviously he's rushing and going to ground, so he tries to obviously get it up and over him, but just can't quite execute it. Honest to God, he was just a breath of fresh air when he came on. The two of them actually were. I think Cazaridis in that, because I didn't think he had his best game in Paisley. But whenever I've seen him, it just... And I think even Braga said so afterwards, it's energy from the pair of them. They just run all day, I think. And that's something that I think fans take for granted. We've had multiple wasters that don't look as though they can be bothered lifting a leg, whereas these two are just determined to do their absolute best. And that's something that I think's vastly underrated and overlooked when it comes to professional footballers.
And then in the 94th minute, agonisingly close to a winner. It's a corner for Hearts. Cazaridis swings it in. It's headed back down by Finlay. Nods it
funny
to...
if we nicked it via a corner, to be fair.
Oh, no. It would have been incredible. By the way, this is so unrelated. I've just seen Celtic got beat on pens.
No way.
3-2.
Oh my God.
I know it's very unrelated to what we're currently speaking about. Maeda missed a penalty, McCowan missed a penalty, Ida missed a penalty. They missed their first two pens. Anyway, we missed a chance to win it because, in fairness to Callum Ward...
The Champions League.
I know. Unbelievable.
The game has never been more gone.
Claudio Braga does very well to spin his defender. Shoots, it takes a slight deflection, and as he himself said, that when you see a ball go towards a goal and it deflects, you think it's in. But Callum Ward does well to kind of make up for his previous two attempts and saves well, pushes onto the post.
Not a bad save, to be fair, but so agonisingly close. I honestly thought that we'd done it, and that would have just been unbelievable.
It's still like the most insane. I cannot believe we came back from that. It makes it.
Came out about it. What was it, like 60 years?
Oh, I can't even mind. Like, just insane. Like generations, basically.
Mental.
It's hard. You left the game feeling like you'd won, and Motherwell fans left like they lost. But as you say, we've spoken about it. The hour was so bad.
Range of emotions.
Yeah. Just before we finish, we haven't really mentioned them, but we have in Sparing Things. I saw a tweet from a Hearts fan. Apologies that I cannot remember who it was. But basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, it was along the lines of Derek McInnes will be the third successive manager to fail if he stands by Lawrence Shankland inexplicably. He has to have time out the team. Now, I obviously don't know if I would agree to that level, but for me, Shankland has to be dropped if we are only playing one of Braga or Shankland. It cannot happen that Shankland is getting in this team ahead of Braga right now.
I don't disagree, but then I think I'm looking into this maybe too deep. Who do you then give the armband to?
Halkett or Devlin?
Interesting.
I think I would worry massively if that was the main reason keeping Shankland in this team, because he's not doing anything to show why he should be captain.
100%. I was merely putting that thought out there.
Yeah, totally.
But equally, I think managers are quick to justify their selection because he's the captain.
Yeah, definitely.
So
you can hide behind it.
That was kind of my thought. It was like, well, he might not see a recognised leader to essentially take the armband from Shankland, but I can't really disagree. Like, what has he shown in these past few weeks, games?
Yeah.
And again, his body language infuriates me. It's like me on this podcast, just raises his arms as if to say, like, what the fuck was that? It's like, well, move. Like, help your teammates out. That's what teammates do. It's not just a case of, oh, you chip in with goals, or like, you all work in tandem. You're part of a team. I just feel like he's probably one of the most selfish captains I've ever laid eyes upon.
I just don't think he's currently playing at a level that justifies his selection at the expense of a guy who has hit the ground. I said this after the game. You might disagree, or you might think of an example, but I cannot think of a single forward who has never previously played in Scotland to hit the ground running for Hearts as well as Braga has, with the obvious exception of 0506 Rudy Jankowskis Bednar, because that's a different kettle of fish. I mean, out just normal Hearts.
I think you're a bit disrespectful towards Armin Nandwili there, mate.
Well, I'm not, because I love that he won me 80 quid in that debut. But you know what I mean? In terms of just like, when's a guy come in who's just immediately been like, who's never played in Scotland before, has no experience of even Britain, and just as like,
got off to a good start.
Wanma's probably a good shout actually, because like I thought of going Calves,
of course, as well.
True, I thought of going Calves, but he'd been at St Mirren and stuff. Like Mark De Vries is probably a good. Mark De Vries is a good shout as well. But like, but what you do when you went from Wanma to De Vries, but so was at a different level. So was at the Championship.
Was technically in Britain as well.
Yeah, exactly. Came through Palace and stuff like that. Like the fact that you went from Wanma to 20 years earlier in De Vries.
Although, think of the countless diddies that we've had up front. So
yeah, but that's what I mean. How is the fact that we've finally got one, and the justification is, oh, but he's not Shankland. It's like, correct. He's not Shankland. He's currently better than Shankland. So start him. And we've signed a guy that scored 85 goals in 9 games or something in another league, and we're playing him as a right mid.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not really listening, because I'm genuinely, but I'm trying to...
It's like impossible.
Name a decent Hearts centre-forward challenge.
Impossible. Exactly. But that then perfectly leads us on to Livingston this weekend, because we travel...
Not a nice game for
us. We travel to the former Tony Macaroni, and in my heart, that's all it is.
Fair Arena, is that right?
It's the Tony Macaroni. That's what it is.
The spaghetti hat.
Yeah, exactly. Hearts need a win. I know what team I'd play, but what team would you play?
Would you play the strongest one that I got you to name earlier?
Yes, but there's obvious changes to that with injuries and stuff.
Okay. Do you want to just run through it together? Because I feel like we were somewhat similar. Clark in goal.
No.
Craig Gordon is a walking injury. Oh, you're going to say Liam McFarlane.
It is symptomatic of 20 years ago. We went to Livingston and a young teenager made his debut in goals. And it's happening again.
Nature. I do like it. Yeah, I can't fault it.
Get Liam McFarlane in that goal.
Is Liam McFarlane even a teenager? I feel like
he's 19. He's 19.
He's 19. Nice. Good work, Liam. Great age. Right. Harry Milne, left wing back, left back. Are you playing a back four? Back three? What are you doing?
Playing a back four.
Okay. Milne, left back.
Yep.
Finlay.
Yep.
You're going to say Halkett because he loves Livy.
Yeah.
And Steinvender right back because we have nobody else, or would you
be
tempted to chuck an Adam Forrester in there?
Play Forrester at right back.
Okay. Midfield three? Midfield
yes.
Four?
Midfield three.
You're going to say Benny, Devlin, McEntee?
Yes.
Kizaridis.
Yep.
Braga.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to say Kerjota, but it's not going to be.
I'm going to say Kerjota. However, if it's a 4-4-2,
you cannot make a first league start on that Astro. Otherwise, you'll be wondering, what the fuck have I come to here?
However, it was in Serie D where almost all of it was Astro.
Point,
so he's actually really used to it.
He's acclimatised, just throw him in. That's it.
If we're playing a 4-4-2, I'd play McEntee, Devlin, Kizaridis, Kerjota, and then a front two of Braga and Kabori.
I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'd even be tempted to give Blair Spittle another run out because McEntee and Devlin at the weekend was just, to me, to you, to Xander Clark, to a full-back.
That's fair enough.
So somebody to play a killer pass would be...
as long as Braga and Kizaridis start, I'm kind of happy with anything else.
How confident are you that will be the case?
I think almost definitely they both won't start.
Yeah.
Like, at all. I think Braga now will, even if McInnes doesn't want to. He just can't not start Braga after that.
Has to start.
But I don't think he'll start Kizaridis.
Yeah. I agree with that.
What's your score prediction?
You never see a good game in Livingston.
No.
I feel like we'll concede though. I was tempted to say 2-1 Hearts, but I'll probably just go 1-0.
I'm
I'm trying to be
going
as optimistic as I possibly can because I would not be surprised to see us drop points here.
same. I fully expect us to drop points, but for
We
the
say a 1-0 draw.
no, I'm just going to be as positive as I can. 3-1 Hearts. I'm just going for it. Braga brace, Kabore debut. Well, first goal, not
So
debut goal.
3-1's your official prediction. I
Yeah.
will go 0-1 then. In the hope that we keep a clean sheet. I don't feel positive about us offensively despite coming back from 3 goals down.
I think we will drop points though. If it was like head versus my heart saying 3-1, my head saying 1 each.
You wouldn't be surprised, would you?
Nah.
Just because of just not even necessarily our inconsistency. Like it's crazy because they're the first points that we've dropped to the season.
Yep.
But just with the lack of consistent selection, it's difficult to even name our team. Never mind what's going to happen in the game. So that's probably what makes it that wee bit trickier.
Correct. So before we finish, we
Get
have
the fucking finger out.
a quiz.
Sorry.
Come on, right? I have give this true or false. If you get this wrong, you will never get a true or false right again because it is the easiest true or false I've ever done. It's basically were Hearts founded in 1874? Yes or no? Right. You've got a true or false.
My first question?
No. You've got a true or false. You've got a multiple choice and 2 normal questions and who am I?
That could have been a hangover effect for the rest of the quiz that I got that wrong.
We'll start with the multiple choice.
Hit me with it.
You mentioned it earlier.
Oh, fuck off. I knew I should have done my research for this.
When was the last time Hearts came back from 3 goals down? You've got options. Was it 1959? Was it 1963? Was it 1966 or 1969?
It's either 59 or 69, but I can't remember if it was 66 years or 55. Oh, fuck off. 56 or whatever. Oh, Jesus. 59.
It's 69. He's 0 for
I knew it. I hate myself. I actually hate myself. I knew that was going to come up. I knew I should have memorised that stat, but of course I didn't. Fuck off.
Today was the first time, obviously on Saturday, from Scott. Today was the first time in over 55 years where we've come back from 3 goals down to avoid defeat. The last time was September 1969 when we were 3-0 away to St Johnstone before it finished 3-3.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Question number 2.
It's my fault. I should have paid attention.
How many Hearts players in the current squad have played for Livingston?
Ooh. And this is not multiple choice?
No.
All right, let's think. The 2 that immediately come to mind are Craig Halkett and Alan Forrest.
Right. I can confirm those 2 have played for Livingston before.
Thanks, mate. Livingston. Penrice is obviously now away. Big sad. See, I feel like you're evil and that there's one more, but it cannot. It's not coming to me. Looks like nobody in midfield. No, I'm just gonna go 2.
He's trusted his gut and he's done it well because it is just Alan Forrest and Craig Halkett.
Ooh.
Well done, you're on the board.
Don't get that blank. That's all that matters.
And here we go. Here's the true or false.
Don't get the blank. Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
True or false? Claudio Braga is the first player to score a brace for Hearts this season.
False. Finlay did.
He's done it. He's got the easiest true or false possible.
Oh!
Well done. Well done.
Why did you pause? That was horrible. I literally said the answer and then thought, shit, did he only score once? Then I was like, no, that was Aberdeen. I'm like, fuck you. Oh,
you're 2 for 3.
Last league game.
Listen, I'd come up with all the other questions and then realise, shit, I need a true or false. I'll just give him one because he always complains.
You were hosted or something.
Yes. So, therefore, I'll give him that.
I'm going to be so angry if that first stat cost me a 5 out of 5 here. I can see it already. This is what happens.
Of the normal questions. What was the score the last time Hearts travelled to Livingston?
Oh,
It's been a wee bit of time because Livingston were obviously not in the
it
league last
has.
season. I can tell you the month and
I think I was
it
in New
happened.
York. Was it not in like January?
It was the first week of February 2024.
Yeah, that's right. Shanklin scored that outside of the foot. Did we win 1-0? No, I think did Vargas not score? Oh no. I want to say 2-0 Hearts.
Is that your final answer?
I think so.
You got both the Hearts goal scorers,
Oh
and Hearts
shit.
did score two, but you didn't get the Livy goal
Ah!
scorer as Andrew Shinney scored a penalty in the 64th minute.
That's so annoying. So it was Shanklin Vargas and a
Shanklin and
Shinny
Vargas,
pen.
yeah. Vargas missed
I
like
don't
an
remember the pen
absolute
at all.
sitter. I don't remember the penalty either, but Vargas missed an absolute sitter, then scored like a great goal where he went round the keeper.
Yeah, I was away. Did Richard not come on the pod?
Richard
That
came on the
yeah.
podcast. Well done.
Bloody hell.
2 out of 4.
Christ.
Very respectable.
That feels like a lifetime
I
ago, doesn't
know.
it?
It's unbelievable. It
I'll
was
never
18
go back to
months.
Livingston
Like,
after that 5-0. Like
yeah,
never
fuck that.
ever. No thanks.
But right.
I'd rather work on Saturday.
Yeah,
That's how committed I am. Fuck that.
exactly.
I'm not going through there. You don't even get loyalty points either, so what's
No,
the
I
point?
know. Shocking.
Disgraceful.
Are you ready for your Hugh Am I?
Yes. I am slightly pleased that it won't
Yeah,
cost me a 5 out of 5 now. Or that first
yeah.
stat, but that's annoying. I knew that we scored twice, Shanklin Vargas. Hit me with it. Let's do it.
I have played for 4 Scottish teams, including Hearts. I have over 20 caps for my country. For my country, I scored a 97th minute own goal to cost them qualification at the 2024 Euros. I made my debut at Hearts in the League Cup in a home win at Tynecastle. And just last week, I signed for a new club. However, the club I left to sign for immediately released a statement saying the move is illegal and it is currently at a tribunal as we speak. Who am I?
Oh, dicey. I like it.
Yeah. By the
Four
way, I would
Scottish
like to
clubs.
say I picked this person before knowing that. I was on their Wikipedia and it's the most current thing.
I was going to say, like, that's the own goal thing's really throwing me off. Because I'm thinking it must be some sort of European defender. Because again, I was thinking, like, I don't know, I thought it'd be some, like, African, like, a Dika Mona or somebody.
Right?
I don't know. But the fact that you've then said the Euros, that's really thrown me off. I thought of, like, a Mihai Popescu, but he's not moved clubs because it has to be somebody obviously recently if it's 2024 Euros. The move is illegal. Because even then, he was playing for that Steaua Bucharest against Aberdeen, was he not? And he has been against Rangers recently. Was that last season? Year before? I don't know. Can I ask what nationality they are, McIver?
Yeah. This man is Bulgarian.
Bulgarian. Oi, oi, oi.
He's thinking.
4 Scottish clubs, Bulgarian, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking like a Nikolai Todorov. Bulgarian. We've not had many Bulgarians.
No?
But then would Nikolai Todorov be at a level to be a Bulgarian international? The 4 clubs, I'm even trying to think of who he'll played for. Hearts, Accies, Airdrie, Inverness? I don't know. 2024 Euros. Bulgarian. Is this obvious, or is this just me?
No, I don't. I don't think it's obvious. I don't think it's an obvious person. To some, it might be. To our big Bulgarian camp that listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be listening. Screaming it.
I'm going to play it safe and ask for the clubs that he played for in order, please, McIver.
Jesus. Right.
Oh, God, this can't be good.
Chernomore. Heart of Midlothian. Whilst at Hearts, Berwick Rangers on loan. Clyde on loan. Brecon City on loan. He then leaves for Levski Sofia, Arda Kardzali, Slashk Krolo, and the team he signed for 10 days ago, Kefisia.
No idea who this is.
I'll tell you, they're Greek.
Thanks. Thanks for that petty information there. No idea who this is. Bulgarian centre half or strike? No. Berwick Rangers Clyde. Branimir Konstantinov. No idea.
Is that a person?
It's my guess. Don't know who it is.
By the way, I just wanted to check because I just said it as a joke. However, 1.3% of our audience is from Bulgaria. So hi!
Hello,
hi
the Bulgarian massive!
The 1.3% here that listen.
Nice.
I can't even remember who you said, but no.
Branimir Konstantinov was who I
No,
said. No idea
sorry.
who it is.
Another clue is that he's a second generation player. His dad was also a professional footballer. His dad was Milan Petkov, and he is Alex Petkov.
Alex Petkov. I recognise the name, but I
So,
don't remember him at all.
the man played 48 minutes for Heart of Midlothian.
Alex Petkov.
He came on and made his debut as John Suter was substituted for him at half time.
Parkhead?
No,
No.
at Tynecastle against East Fife under Cathro when we beat them 3-0 in that league cup where we eventually got knocked out. But we beat East Fife, so yes. He then the three other Scottish clubs we did mention, Berwick Rangers, Clyde and Brecon. Yeah, he's got over 20 caps for Bulgaria and he plays reasonably regularly for them. And on the 16th of November 2023, he scored an own goal in the 97th minute in the penultimate match of the qualifiers against Hungary, which eventually knocked them out. And Hungary took the place because it was Sabolazai's
right, they were in Scotland's
big
group.
things. Yeah. So we could have been lined up against Alex
before beating
Petkov.
us.
Yes, exactly.
Fair play. I mean, carved out a career for himself. That's love to see that.
And then, this is what it says on his Wikipedia page, right? So he was at Polish side Ślązak Wrocław, or however you
Big club.
say it, right?
Never heard.
On the 13th of August 2025, so literally 13 days ago, Petkov signed with Super League Greek newcomers Kefisia. An hour later, Slask, his Polish club, released a statement claiming Petkov unilaterally, illegally terminated his contract with the club without just cause, and that they would be seeking compensation and fines from both the player and Kefisia, and it's currently in the FIFA tribunal courts.
Jesus.
And that was just a complete coincidence when I saw this guy's name come up.
Fair play. Did not have any recollection of you, Alex, so sorry, mate.
But he's now scoring own goals to cost his country. Yeah, the 1.3%. We're so sorry we didn't.
Big up the 1.3%.
Yeah, exactly.
Love you all.
We love you, Bulgaria. Miro's from there, who's a wrestler. Well in, mate. Smashed it.
Dimitar Mitov was a fantastic... Dimitar Berbatov.
Dimitar Mitov? He's
Dimitar
fucked
Mitov's a
it.
good goalie, to be fair.
Yes.
But
Unrelated to
Dimitar Berbatov
Bulgaria
was
in any way. Like. I loved
Yeah.
Berbatov.
He was class.
I had a Berbatov top when I was like
Martin
7.
Petrov, remember him? Do you remember him?
Yeah,
Premier
of
League
course.
years? Yeah. We're a couple
Was
of Bulgarian
Stoichkov Bulgarian?
Stoichkov was Bulgarian.
Yeah. See, we are massive in the Bulgarian football scene.
We know our Bulgarian ball.
Yeah,
It's not Alex
exactly.
Petkov, sorry.
But if you know Alex Petkov and managed to get it, please let us know. And please let us know if you did enjoy the episode. A bit of a rambly, angry, but then happy one. They're always fun to do every so often.
Game. It was to be expected.
Exactly. If you did enjoy it, please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you've been watching us, please have a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Perth to Paisley on all the socials. perthtopaisley@gmail.com if you want to fire us over an email. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
You can get me on all the socials rewatching highlights of Hearts 3, East 5-0 in the League Cup group stages at Kendo's Column.
We'll be back next week to discuss all the fallout from Livingston, the transfer window closing, and where we are as a squad after that. Yeah, with the 100 players that we will then have, and anything else that happens. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.